again. I did that again. Oh, the joys of live streaming. Hey, everybody. How are you all doing? And Brian Wilder, American Gold Prospectors. Yes, you were numero uno. But all of you are number one in my book. Andrew's too, maybe too. But welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. If you're listening to replay over at iHeartRadio or Spotify, thank you very much. Make sure to smash that 5-star over there and give me a nice little review. It'd be greatly appreciated. And if you feel froggy, jump over and catch the live every Tuesday night. You know, the link's right down there in the description of this podcast. But back to those who are here right with me right now. Tonight, we're having my friend from the land down under, the land of drop bears and kangaroos, Andrew. From some of you might know him as CancerManAUS. I started a relationship with this fine gentleman when he was producing on a channel called Adventure Gold. And we go way back. Andrew and Adventure Gold goes way back with the FlashFam for many of years. It's a pleasure having this gentleman back on Tuesday Night Hangout Live. That isn't an open line Tuesday where he's actually my guest for the night. Not that open line Tuesday guests are any different, but they're different, but the same. Know what I mean? Oh, whatever. But news. My very good friend and dredging buddy Bobby DePotty, Heather's and Scarlett, his oldest daughter, and Erie Deary have a GoFund. They're a little past halfway of their goal. These people would give you the shirt off your back, and they've never asked me for nothing, and they volunteered to come help when I was redoing our bathroom, because we only have one bathroom. I think I talked about it a little during the tribute. But the link to that is over at the tribute show, which was last week's show, because he passed away over Thanksgiving weekend, and the Wednesday before that was his 53rd birthday. Oh, breaks my heart. But they're halfway there, so every little bit counts. Hate to be a broken record, but it's heavy on my heart and mind. They're great people. But what's new? I'm still working an hour and a half out of town. Beautiful country drive to work. But it makes my Tuesday nights tight. Hi, Gail. What you saying? Sorry for your loss. That is too young, and he sounds like he made a difference. And he was a great guy. Yeah, and it was actually a relationship formed through YouTube and gold prospecting too, Gail. And I've known him for over a decade. great guy. He will be missed. I hope I made a little bit of difference in him and Heather and Erie Deary's life, because they have touched mine and Judy's. But you're right there, Andrew. You're right there, and we'll be with you in a minute. But any news? I've been so out of the loop on this job since it's so far away from home. So, but I know Deej is 7,300 and something. Congratulations, Deej. Congratulations, in 7th year, I believe. Congratulations, Deej. Terry, good to see you. When I bring Andrew up, we'll say hi to each and every one of you. I'm at Vancrest, Urbana, Chris. Chris works for a masonry company we use quite a bit. He's a good old boy from right outside of town, not far from me, actually. So, but yeah, I am still in Urbana, Chris. Still in Urbana. 8 years. 7,350. Congratulations. Congratulations on 8 years, Deej. And Deej is awesome too. I've had the pleasure of having her come to Flash Bash, or not Flash Bash, but hang out with me at Gold Rush days and stuff. Actually, Deej, you might have met Bobby and Heather and maybe Erie Deary at Gold Rush days, because they would always come and hang out at my camp every year. Come and hang out my camp for a little while. Oh, you're in St. Henry? Justin, well, let me get Andrew and we'll say more to all of you in a bit. So don't go away, because I'm going to play this real quick, because my friend from up the road, with this Joint Force Enterprise, made the music for this, and his boys are backup singers, and Kobadiah did all the music and stuff. So I'm gonna use it because I like the tune of it, and you get to see some great people from great shows in the past during my intro. So don't go away. Andrew and I be right back.
Hello, everybody, and welcome to another episode of Tuesday Night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night Hangout Live. It's Tuesday night Hangout Live with your host Ed Marvin. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is a Flash in Your Pan production.
I'm so blonde, Andrew. I thought my introduction had past shows in it. That's my intermission. Oh my goodness. Welcome back, my friend. Welcome back.
It is good to be back. Great to see everyone in the chat. G'day all. Good to be here.
And we have all kinds of great people. Hey, Careless. Gail, Deech, Muscle Up. I still haven't sent those out, but they're coming. So's yours, Terry. Good to see you. Who's all in here? There's
Gail.
Terry.
Gail, what coin's that?
Gail's talking to you.
Gail. That's one of your coins. It doesn't come with all the yellow stuff around it, though. It's just the coin.
That's Gail's coin. Gail win a coin off you.
They're actually all going to come to you, Ed. They're going to come to you. It's going to come to your address, and you're going to distribute them.
Oh, really?
Really?
Okay.
And Terry's going to send some opals with the coins.
Ah. Cool.
Hmm.
Cool. He was saying something about opals when he was giving me his address the other night. Yeah. I need to get your address, Andrew.
I don't have a fixed abode. I'm living in a caravan. I just travel wherever I want.
You don't have a P.O. box or nothing?
No, but I can find a friend that I can get stuff mailed to.
Well, if you get a number of one of your mates, and he'll be a bloody good bloke about it, it won't be much because it's so expensive for us to ship anything there. But it'd be a sticker pack and one of my wooden nickels.
Look, the wooden nickel, that'd be awesome. Like that kind of stuff.
Yeah.
It's unique. They only come from one spot.
Be made just for you. You get my smiley face giving you a thumbs up.
Good work. I like it. Now, when I was chatting with Gail, I just said, you know what? It'd be a nice gift if I actually got one of every Australian coin, mailed it over to you, so you've got a full set of Australian coins. And Gail went, "Oh, that'd be really nice." I went, "Well, hey, it's just what we do. We're a giant family. Every single one of us. We're all part of a family. You gift stuff to family. You look after them." And I say, it's a small thing, but it means a lot for people that appreciate it. I like doing that stuff.
No, everybody touches someone some way. Probably said that wrong.
We know what you meant.
But yeah, oh yeah, and the camaraderie and just shoot, got a better community in here than what's in other places.
Yep.
5 Mile Relic Hunter, good to see you.
G'day.
Yeah, he is. Yeah, I got some Aussie pennies that was found in a jar. Brad Welsh found them underwater in like a mason jar or something.
Yep.
And he sent me a few. They're up there on that shelf up there.
Got the kangaroo on them?
What over here? There's 3 with the roo on it,
Yep.
and then some older than that. There's 2 different styles. 3.
Gail, like I'm just looking at what Gail said. That's so amazing. Andrew is very kind. I'm kind to those that deserve it, and I say, I think pretty much everyone on here is, you're all good people. I mean, Ed doesn't have bad people on his show. Sometimes.
Oh, they've come around, but this guy right here, Mr. Lodak, knocks them right out. I think he can read them before they're even coming. Justin, if I missed you, I'm sorry. Have a good night. 14 hours, night shift starting at 4:30. Be careful out there. Remember what not to mention to whatever. Probably talking about Dream Mat or Hog Mat or something.
Oh, no, it's not that. Anyway.
Or No Gold in Utah or something.
I got washing to go and do later.
Say what?
I've got washing to do later.
Oh.
It's an inside joke, Ed. Well, I'll let you in on it later on at the end of the show.
Right.
Oh, dear.
Well, one of the crazy things we're up to, Paul, is my friend Andrew over here has a really cool presentation. Besides being a recreational prospector, Andrew actually worked in a rather large open pit mine.
And underground.
It was also underground too, right? So he knows his stuff when it comes to hard rock mining. Was it placer or hard rock?
Hard rock.
That's what I thought, because you talked about it before. See, that blonde in me, Andrew.
You can't keep blaming that, Ed.
It works. You know, what's the blonde stereotype? Okay,
hey,
so
406. I know how you going, buddy.
Jeffrey, good to see you, my friend. Stacy.
More like gray.
Yeah, it's great now. It sure is getting great, Terry.
What's a grey happen? That happens when you get older.
Right.
But I tell you what does keep the grey away.
Vegemite. You know, I left my Vegemite out of my shed, and it's been hot and cold and hot and cold. Does it ever spoil or go bad?
This stuff will last for thousands of years. Look at it.
Oh, I've had it. I got some out there. I've even ate it live. When
honestly, if you actually want to defeat aging, it's so yummy, that stuff.
Yeah, you know you're Aussie. If I did just what you were doing right now,
that's better than ice cream, that stuff.
Good old Vegemite.
There you go, clean spoon.
I actually liked it with a lot of butter on a English muffin.
I'll tell you what's good. If you take a bit of toast, smear some Vegemite on it, and then put some cheese on top, stick it under the grill and melt it. That's what we call tiger toast. Melted cheese with Vegemite on toast. Brilliant.
It started being really good, you know.
Nothing but nasty. No, it's not. It's good.
Yeah, we have something here that's its equivalent. Try and think of the name, Andrew.
Axle grease?
No. Marlite, I
It's called
forget the
Marmite.
name. Huh?
It's called Marmite.
Yeah, yeah. A beer, a byproduct of beer. Beer.
Oh, it was initially, but Vegemite nowadays, like commercial Vegemite, is actually a manufactured product. It's not a byproduct of brewing anymore. But that's where it got its origins from. It was leftover brewer's yeast and all the sediments in the bottom of the brewer's tank.
JP wants some. JP actually had some. Love Grandma's trotters. What's that, Stacy? Know what's funny? I was wondering where you were at, and this was a while ago. But there's a bloke from down under, and I was kind of like him. I'm like, where the hell did Andrew go? Where's Adventure Gold? And then I saw a post from Murray,
Yep,
Murray River Prospecting.
Vic.
Say what?
His name's Vic. Victor.
Vic?
Victor.
Oh, but I saw his video about where the heck's Andrew. And of course, she chatted in the chat under Cancer, man. But is that why you stopped Adventure Gold, or what happened with Adventure Gold, Andrew? Because some of us are curious, especially me.
All right. So I'm going to take an ugly story and I'm going to condense it down into a really quick explanation.
Okay, didn't mean bring back bad memories.
The thing with memories is if they're in the past, you let them go.
They're in the past.
But the reason that Adventure Gold stopped was, one, the cancer that I now have leaves me in constant pain. So, for me to go back and do what I used to do back in the Adventure Gold days, my body just won't allow me to do it.
Okay.
But the second reason was because I was getting harassed by, I'm not mentioning names, certain people, and it was coming in from all different fake accounts with different fake names. I was advised for my own health to actually shut it down, which I did. It was heartbreaking to do, but I had to do it for my own health. So
right.
There was a couple of reasons. One, my body just won't allow me to do the stuff I used to be able to do. Second, it was to try and help improve what life I've now got without all the stress that was being put on me from the old channel.
I can understand that,
Yep.
It's just terrible. Some people can be so vicious. But that's all in the past, and I'm glad to see you're back. So
New and improved version.
New and improved.
I don't metal detect. I actually not long ago sold my mine lab. I've just got the $99 special that you can go down to the beach and just find coins and ring pulls and jewelry. But no, it's too hard on my body to do that kind of stuff now. But I still enjoy going and spending time sitting on a creek and washing a few pans. Absolutely love it. It's always been my number one thing I love doing is just spending time on a creek, river, a stream, and just washing a few pans. It's one of the most relaxing and satisfying things you can do.
I have to agree with you. Getting back to the bare pans basics
Yeah.
can be
And
actually quite rewarding.
it gives you a connection with the old times, like back in the gold rush days. You are doing the same thing, virtually the same thing that those old timers were doing, and it gives you that connection with history. And again, if anybody that knows me knows that I've got a real love of history, and I say gold prospecting history especially, but history in general, it teaches us so much. Oh, g'day, Heath.
I think Keith asked Mr. Lodak if I had any squirrel moments.
I've actually been learning a fair bit of geology stuff off Heath the last couple of weeks.
Yeah, I've missed you when you've been in with the boys in Zoom over at Lodak Zoom parties. Gold Prospector Space. I've heard you've been in a few.
Oh yeah, I've been annoying that out of them. I'm just like, Gail is 100% correct. If you want to talk history, pick up a rock. Every single rock you pick up has history to it, and it has some amazing stories to tell. But you've got to learn how to read them. It's like picking up a book on a specific subject you've never read before. Most of it will go over your head when you read it. But when you actually learn to understand it, so like a rock, you pick a rock up and you look at it and go, yeah, cool, I know exactly when this rock was actually formed, what time it came from, and what was around at that time. So every rock you pick up has a story behind it. Yes, Terry, we have been having a lot of fun. I don't know what Heath's up to, but no, Gail, I absolutely love rocks. So I've been called a rock licker more than once.
I think a lot of prospectors kind of like rocks, just in general.
Yeah, well, I say if you're into your prospecting, rocks are again another one of these very valuable tools that you have in your toolkit of prospecting gear. But a lot of us don't utilize those tools to their full advantage. So they will point you to this stuff behind me.
Oh, yeah.
Thank you, Heath. I appreciate that. Hopefully, you're going to enjoy what I've got to share with you today.
Yeah. We could even get into a little of that if you want, Andrew.
Why not? No
Why
time like the
not?
present.
Right.
Right. So, the whole gist of why I'm on the show today, this evening, so I'm just going to go through modern mining methods because I think a lot of people out there, they've never actually had exposure to a gold mine or a copper mine or just any sort of metals mine. So I'm just going to sort of open up a bit of a window here and just give you a bit of insight as to what goes on inside a modern mine. And I say, I'm just going to talk about a gold mine. That picture there, that is actually the open pit. That was at the mine that I used to mainly work at. So I used to work at a few different mines, but that mine there was the one that I spent, best part of 12, 13 years working at on and off. So we'll get into it. So, I mean, initially when you're going to set up a mine, you want to, where are we going to do it? So you got to try and choose a location that's going to actually have enough of the metal that you're after that it's going to be profitable. If it's like going gold panning on a creek. If you go to a creek and it's not known to hold gold, well, you're likely not going to get a lot of gold. It's not saying you won't, but it's just a lot less likely. So, when you're choosing where to start a mine, you got to know what's there.
Right.
You got to know what type of minerals are present. Again, the geology of the ground, and I say there's a lot of importance with the geology side of it. Because I say it actually determines how you set up a mine and how it processes the ore. Some rock requires special treatment, which you can't do in normal processes. And another thing you got to look at again is your estimated amounts of minerals. I mean, there's no point in spending a couple of $1 billion setting up a mine site if the amount of minerals there is only going to last you 12 months, 2 years. Again, availability of required resources. You got to think about what that mine's going to need when it's operating. So it's going to need equipment. It's going to need fuel. Anything you need to run a mine. Water is one of the most critical things. Electricity is another one. And then the last thing, of course, is topography. And when I'm talking topography, sometimes a hilly area can actually work to your advantage, because if you've got altitude in a site, quite often it means you don't have to do a lot of pumping. If you put a tank up on a hill, that means that water will run through gravity back down through your plant. So sometimes it helps to have hilly places. Sometimes it helps to have flat, because if it's flat, you don't have to spend a lot of money and use a lot of machinery to flatten out areas to actually build your oil processing plant. So that's one of the considerations. When you're going to set up a mine, is where are you going to do it? That's a pretty rock, isn't it?
Ooh, that's a beautiful rock.
Yep.
Here, I'm going to make it maximum for a second so they can get a better eye at it.
There we go. So while it looks really pretty, what you're looking at there is pyrite.
Still pretty pyrite.
Very pretty pyrite.
That's not arsopyrite, is it?
Yes, spot on, Ed. That's exactly what it is.
Gotta be kind of careful with that stuff, don't you?
Yep. So I suppose we should sort of go into a little bit of in-depth on what that is, Ed.
Sorry. I'll shut up.
No. You're already on the money. You knew exactly what you're looking at. So when you're talking this rock here, it actually contains arsenic, which is a naturally occurring mineral. And again, this comes back to talking about knowing what minerals are in the ground when you're actually setting up a mine site. Yeah, bud, it is a really nice rock. But like Ed said, you've got to treat it carefully, because some of the minerals can actually be quite toxic. So again, knowing what minerals are in the ground will determine how you set up a mine, an operating modern mine. Yeah, it's a pretty rock. Right, moving on. So once you've actually determined what minerals are there, guess what? If you're under an exploration license, that's where you stop, because you're not able to actually mine that out of the ground. With an exploration license, you're allowed to look for the minerals, you're allowed to do testing, but you're not allowed to do any mining. Right? So once you've done all your testing and you've got your core samples, which they will tell you exactly how big the ore body is, what's in the ore body, what type of rock the ore body is in. Then you have to apply for your mining license, which will then allow you to start digging that up and processing it to retrieve whatever the metals are you're chasing. So the whole time I'm going through this, I just want you to start adding up what you think this is costing, all right? Because at this stage, you're not getting a single cent out of the ground, right? This is all cost. It costs money to do drilling. It costs money to have people analyze the rock and tell you what minerals are in it. So as we're going through this, just keep adding up in your mind what you think all this stuff costs. Now, again, you got to spend money to make money, and nothing is truer when it comes to mining. And I've just picked on like a mine site in Western Australia, and it's called Telfer. Now, if you think about this, if you've got to bring resources to this, which Telfer is actually in a desert, right? One of the main things you're going to need is water. What's the one thing that lacks most of in a desert? Anyone? Hands up.
You heard them, class.
Anyone there? Hello? Hello. Anyone in the comments? No? Okay. Water. You need water. And if you're in a desert, yeah, good one, Gar. Yeah, if you're in a desert, you've got to bring the water to the mine site. Water. That's be the one. So if you're a long way from your nearest water source, you got to build a pipeline. Because you're not going to truck it in, you're not going to train it in, you're definitely not going to fly it in. It's got to come by. So again, you got to start spending that money, putting these things in to get what you need. You get your resources into that area to start operating your mine. And again, if the area you're looking at doesn't already have roads, doesn't have railway lines, doesn't have an airport, well, then you've got to start building all that stuff to get to your mine site. So again, keep adding this up in your head. How much is this costing?
Well,
So again,
he's about right. 2 million to make one.
2 million to make one. Again, I'll touch on this later, and whether we actually do it in this piece or whether we do it afterwards. I'd like to be able to do it here because I say this is the kind of stuff I want to share with people because not many people know anything about this.
Right.
Again, so if you've got
or
your
the
mind
reclamation part too.
That's right at the tail end of it.
Yeah. But go ahead, teacher. We're all yours, my friend.
And I can tell you now, generally the people that actually start the mine are not the ones that do the reclamation at the end of it.
Right.
Just generally speaking. They always sell the operating mine as it's sort of starting to get to the point where it's no longer being profitable. Then the next person that buys it gets as much as they can out of it. And then possibly if somebody else buys it because somebody's, fiddled the books a little bit, they end up with something that's non-profitable, but they've got the job of actually, replacing the land and making it back to the way it was originally. G'day, Banshee. Funny thing, muscle up. I will talk about the gold in the ocean shortly at the end of this. Because I say I've got some interesting facts about gold and seawater that people will find interesting. Anyway, let's move on. Your accommodation. So you've got to, if it's a remote area, you've got to have somewhere for people to live and spend their downtime.
Mm-hmm.
recreation. And again, you've got to have laundry. Power, you can't operate a mine without power. We've already
Right.
covered water. Again, if you've got people living in a remote area, you've got to have food storage and preparation areas, like cold storage, kitchens, meal rooms. Again, another critical one, emergency services. You've got to have medical there. You've got to have fire there, and you've got to have specialised mine rescues.
Yeah.
This is all money you've got to spend before you start making a single cent from your mine. It has to be there to start with. And probably another one that not many people think about is waste disposal. And sewage is a big one. If you've got 1,000 people at any given time on a site, that means there's 1,000 people using the crapper. You've got to do something with that sewage. You can't just run out on the ground. So you've got to have a sewage treatment works. You've got to have a way of disposing with just your general waste. And most modern mines recycle as much of their stuff as they possibly can because it is a reduction in cost. I'll say going back towards the actual mine operation, you need to set up process water dams and tailing storage dams. And again, these are large areas. If you're on a hilly area, if your topography is very mountainous, constructing water dams and tailage storage dams becomes a very, very, very big task. So now we're going to go into mine infrastructure. So you've got to get your equipment and your machinery to actually do your mining. So be it underground mining, be it open cut mining, you've got to have machinery to do it.
Right.
Then you've got to construct your ore processing plant. And I know people will be going, like they're starting to add this stuff up in their head and they're going, how much is this actually costing? If you want to set up a brand new mine site, brand new, we're talking billions. All right. That's just in physical stuff you buy. When you start getting down to, and once you've actually got it all built, then you have to go into what they call commissioning stages, where you've got to test every single part of that mine. Ore processing plant must be run in a commissioning state to make sure everything works as the way it was designed to work. And I can tell you from past experience, it normally takes 3 to 4 goes of commissioning before they get it right. And again, you got wages on this, and you're probably putting product through. Normally they just test with water, but if you're actually testing machinery that's got to, use a product to actually work correctly, then you've got to use product. So again, it's extra cost. And then we get down to the really, 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 really prickly part. Create and establish operating procedures for effective and safe mine operations. And as I've bolded that because this is no easy task for a new mine site. It's difficult. You can generally plagiarize a lot of procedures and that from other mines, but again, you're dealing in an industry that is very, very protective of the information they have. And I'm not going to go into a great deal of detail in these presentations because that would be remiss of me, because a lot of mining companies have spent a lot of money to get all these procedures and mining operation in documentation. It costs a lot of money to do it. So I'm not going to go into great detail of that, but just be aware that it's a huge cost. And then again, the last one there is construction storage facilities, because all mines have consumables. So if you've got a haul truck, you've got to put tyres on it. You've got to put fuel in it. You've got to do services on it. You've got to change the filters in it. This is all stuff you have to have before you start mining. And I say, if you look at your ore processing plant, you've got to have chemicals on site. You've got to buy the chemicals. They've got to be sitting there in the in the chemical storage tanks in bunded areas, ready to go. So again, cha-ching, cha-ching, cha-ching. Can you hear the coins? Can you hear the money adding up here?
Right.
This is all before you have made a single cent from the minerals in the ground where you're setting up a mine. It is a very, very costly exercise. Then, of course, right at the end of it all, you've got to put protective equipment in for personnel.
Gotta have that PPE.
Got to have the PPE. Last line of defense. The first line of defense is your brain. If for 1 second you think that something is dangerous, stop. Don't do it. Have a really good think about it. Don't rely on PPE to save you.
Right. But MSHA and OSHA wants that PPE. I'm sure you guys have some kind of mine safety organization that wants so
I'm just
here we have OSHA for regular work and construction and stuff, and then we have MSHA for mines, and it's all safety stuff, and they like to fine severely.
Yeah. Again, you've got to have the workers on your mine site. They've got to be there, they've got to be employed, and you've got to pay them every week. If you don't pay them, guess what? Next week, they're not going to be there. So you've got to have a large amount of coin already sitting in the bank to start paying these people, again, before you make a single cent from the minerals in the ground.
Right.
And quite often, a lot of these people, they've got specialised educations and trade skills, and they cost those people a lot of money to obtain. So their wages are going to be up there. Right, so that's the end of that slideshow.
That was all of it?
That was the first one. There's another 2 to go.
Oh, okay. Well, we're almost to the top of the hour. If anyone needs to use the restroom or grab a quick snack or refill your glass or grab another beer, Andrew and I will be back in 2 minutes and 10 seconds. So don't go away. We'll be right back.
Promise.
Take a break, but don't go far. Gold fever's burn like a shooting star. Grab a snack, stuff gold without still more stress. Let 'em spit the talk I walk about. Shovels in the dirt, pickaxes high, treasures waiting, reach for the sky. Tuesday night, hangout live, don't go away. We'll be back real soon, there's more to say. Legends of gold, secrets untold. Hunt's not over, there's more to unfold. From lost mines to rivers wide, prospectors digging side by side. Old time stories render new finds, gold's any treasure, it's the richie high. So breathe your time, shovels in the dirt, pickaxes high, treasures waiting, reach for the sky. Tuesday night, hang out live, don't go away. We'll be back real soon, there's more to say. Legends of gold, secrets untold. The hunt's not over, there's more to unfold. As Mother Sean LeBron has his finger on the hair behind, that's our goal.
Welcome back to the show, everybody. I'm glad you like it, Larry. Terry. So does Judy. She didn't really like my rock and roll one. But so I put this one. If you have any questions, don't be afraid to ask the man right there.
Well, that fella here can answer some of them. He already knew what the pyrite was.
Why are there two streams? Because in my StreamYards, I'm allowed to stream vertically now and horizontal, Deej. You can do it when you set up your live stream. So here's a question. Wait, let me see. Jason AU asked one earlier, I guess.
Let's see if we can find it. Going. How back far?
I don't know.
I'm going
right
back.
Here.
Going
I
back.
think it is. So I see all these asks here. And
Okay,
no mine in Australia. What's the deal with that, Andrew? Do they really pay that well?
The short answer is yes, they do pay well. But the real answer there is at what cost to yourself, because mining is a hard life. It's hard on your body, but more so it's hard on you mentally. So if you're away from your family for extended periods, I mean, some mines here in Australia, they have what they call fly in, fly out, which you guys will be familiar with. To reduce the cost, the running cost of a mine, what they'll do is they'll fly you in and you might spend 4 weeks working. That's 7 days a week. Could be up to 16 hours a day. That's the maximum hours allowed to work in a 24-hour period. So if you're away for that many weeks from your family, from your friends, the cost emotionally and the cost on your family and friends is very high. Again, it pays well, but you've got to think about the actual cost to yourself. It's okay, money's good, but it's not everything. So if you're actually considering doing that, I would recommend you do it when you're young and you're not in a full-term relationship. Earn your money, save your money, don't spend it. And this is where everybody goes wrong when they go working mines. Save that money, buy what you need, and get out. Because as you get older, mining life becomes very, very difficult, especially on your body. I mean, my hands now, like I can barely hold a gold pan. They start to hurt that much. And I say, part of that's the cancer, but part of that's just wear and tear from doing physical work in mines. So yeah, it pays well, but the cost is pretty huge on the body and the mind.
Thank you, Terry, for the $14.99 Australian super chat. I appreciate it.
I'm just going to answer this question. Andrew, are you going to be opening up a mine anytime soon? As soon as you send me the check, Heath, we're into it.
All right.
Make sure there's lots and lots and lots of zeros on that check, though, my friend, because we're going to need them.
Lots and lots. But what about a smaller scale mine?
Yeah. Again, you've got to look at the amount of mineral. And I'm not going to say gold because I'll touch on this later. The amount of mineral that's there. If the scale of your mine is small, then what you can process is small.
True.
You look at the running cost over, let's just say, a month, and what you're taking out of the mine is less than the running cost, then you're wasting money. There's no point in doing it. You can sit at home and do nothing.
Even if it's like free milling and you have your own ball mill or a stamp mill, and
again, this is where you got to crunch the numbers, and this is where most modern mines, the people that do the crunching of the numbers, they never actually set foot on the mine. They sit in an office in a city somewhere,
right?
And they crunch the numbers for them, and that's where it starts costing money. And they'll look at your drill samples. And they'll virtually work out how much minerals there, how big the ore body is, do their math, and work out and go, right, you need
how
to
many yards per ounce of this and that, and other byproducts being copper, silver, zinc, lead, whatever. You know, what's usually associated with gold? Copper, lead, silver. You're the miner, you know better. How many tons per ounce from that mine you worked at?
I love that question because I've got the answer already prepared. So let's just, rather than talking grams per ton, all right, because that mine where I worked at, it was basically, and probably still is today, working on 1 gram per 1 ton of rock that is processed.
1 gram?
1 gram of gold, that's gold,
wow,
per 1 ton of rock. Now, if you want to put that into a different perspective, all right, I'm going to put it to you in a different way. If you look at a small car, and I was talking to the boys in the after party about it. If you take a small car, which weighs 1 ton, essentially what you're taking out of that car is 1 paperclip. That's a profitable mine.
He said, get started, it's in the mail.
Sure. When I get it, then we'll talk, okay? When I get that, I'll just look at how many zeros are on it. And if it's got lots and lots of zeros, you'll get a quick reply. If it's only got 1 or 2 zeros, the reply might be a fair while.
Oh, yeah, I could see that easy, Mike.
Again, if you're drawing power from the main power grid, the mine where I was working at, when it was running at full capacity, was drawing more than 1% of the total state's electrical consumption. That's just one mine. And I can tell you now, the 3 monthly quarterly bill for the power was in the millions. So again, the size of your mine is kind of not really important. It's what you can actually get from the mine that is a saleable product that you have to compare to what it costs to actually operate the mine to get that saleable product. It's a balancing act. And I can tell you now, a lot of mines, they'll be operating today. In 2 weeks' time, the price of gold might drop, the price of copper might drop, the price of silver might drop. And it's more economical for them to go, you know what, let's just shut up shop and stop, because it's costing them money, not making them money. So they'll stop until the price of that mineral goes up again.
Right.
Yeah. So yeah.
Now, what was What was the priority mineral in that mine?
Yeah, well, it's classified as a gold mine, but the most saleable product that comes from it is copper.
Okay. Still
So
a lot of use for copper.
without going into too much delicate information here,
Are you still under a DNA
it doesn't matter where the gold comes from, anywhere in the
or
world,
an
it
NDA?
has specific DNA to it. But yeah, so what I was going to say is the copper from that mine where I worked at pays for everything. It pays for wages, the running costs, everything. The gold is all profit, 100% profit.
Okay.
The copper pays for everything.
They should call it a copper mine instead of a gold mine, then.
But it costs more money to run a copper mine because there's more legalities involved and there's more rules and
Oh,
regs.
really?
That's why it's actually licensed as a gold mine. The gold is a byproduct, but it's called a gold mine because that's what they are essentially mining.
Okay.
Again,
so
this is getting
they're having to play on title for less regulation.
Yeah, and I say I'm not going to go too much further into that because that's starting to get into the realm of talking about stuff you shouldn't talk about in modern mining.
Right. We don't want you being disappeared or nothing.
I don't want to get a knock on the door at 2 a.m. in the morning.
Right.
And not by officials, by people that are unofficial.
Yeah, right.
Yeah, because I say it's that there is the side of mining that everybody sees, and then there is the actual other side of it that nobody knows nothing about because it's all very secretive. That's where you make money in mining. Most of it's above board, some of it's not. We're not going any further. It's like owning a business. Do you declare everything on the books?
I cannot confirm or deny that.
That's exactly right. Now, I did see Gail did ask a question about locality, and she said because it looks close to the ocean.
Yeah, I added up for a bit.
Yeah, I got it here. Even though the mine is in a desert, it looks close to a coastline. Is salt water ever used? Generally not, because salt water is highly corrosive and most stuff in a mine is made of steel. If you start using salt water in your mine processing, it's going to rust extremely quickly. If you look at mining operations that are very close to the coast, they spend an awful lot of money on preventing rust, like rust prevention. So, descaling, neutralizing the rust, painting over it, encasing steel to try and give it longer life. It is
and even if you could get away with like magnesium or zinc or aluminum, you have to worry about electrolysis then.
A lot of chemicals that you use will actually attack aluminium and zinc coatings very, very quickly. It is actually more detrimental to have those coatings on within some areas of an oil treatment plant because it actually helps that stuff break down quicker. Excuse me. Ooh.
Right.
Yeah. So again, this is all stuff you need to factor in when you're starting to build a brand new mine site. You've got to know what's in the ground. You've got to know what sort of water you're going to use. All these things play a factor in how you set up the mine to run.
Yeah, and then it wouldn't be feasible to make the salt water clean water and not for just mining, maybe in portions for consumption, but
yep. So hopefully, Gail, that answers your question. But yeah, possibly there are things you could use salt water for, but not many. Yeah, I'm just going through some of the chat here. But yeah, no, just if you got questions, don't be afraid to drop them in the chat here. Or say somebody will pick it up.
Yeah, put a big Q in front so I know it's a question.
Hey, Heath, what was the address you sent the check to? Just out of curiosity, I just want to know.
Now, is that a sulfide ore or free milling?
Right, so that mine where I worked at has both, which becomes a bit tricky because I said this is, I'm going to cover that in the next two presentations. Free milling gold's quite easy because most of that is recovered through what they call the gravity circuit, which is essentially what all of us do on a weekend when we go gold panning and running a sluice or a high banker or dredging. We're just using a gravity method to retrieve whatever the free gold is there available. When you start talking sulfides, that's a different process, and I'm going to cover that a little bit further.
Okay.
Maybe not in this live chat, but maybe in another one next year. I might go a little bit further into that because I say there is technology and techniques in that we can actually utilize in weekend prospecting. And that's what I hope to do by talking to you about modern mining, is might actually help you recover more gold with your recreational prospecting.
Very cool.
That's the aim of it.
My friend Sam Tuckerly, she might have missed it, but she's wondering how many hours were you working a day while you were a miner? Or typically, how long's your shift in the mine?
13 hours.
13 hours?
13 hours on site. Then you've got to put travel on the start of the day and put travel on the end of the day. And then at the end of all that, at the start of that, you've got to get up early. You've got to make breakfast. You've got to prepare your meals that you take. So in a 24-hour day, you don't get a great deal of sleep. You're up at 4 o'clock in the morning and you won't go to bed until 9:30 of the night. That's just a normal day.
Right. Long day, Sam.
Yeah. Again.
Oh, Sam, you and James are doing a great job down at Vane Mountain, North Carolina, at the LDMA camp. If any of you all go down and visit Sam and James, say hi.
The other thing, Jason, I will say is, and again, you've got to weigh this up. The mine I worked at had multiple rosters over the time I worked there. So some of them were 6 days on, 6 days off. Some of them were 7 days on, 7 days off. Sometimes it was 14 days on and 7 days off. Sometimes it was 14 nights on and 6 days off. And I say 6 days off because that first day that you have off, you're asleep. You've got to try and get your sleep pattern back right. So if you come off night shift, your first day off is spent sleeping. You don't automatically go back to being awake of a day. It's a hard life. Anybody that thinks it's just easy money and you're going to be able to handle it, you're not going to handle it. If you do a bit of research into it and you actually look at people and talk to people that have worked in these mine sites for many years, they'll give you a really good indication of what you need to be mentally prepared for if you're going to go and work at one of these modern mine sites. It's not an easy thing to do.
No, neither way it's easy. Even out as a recreational and a weekend warrior, sometimes it's not easy.
No, but the thing is, when you're doing it on a weekend, it's something you enjoy doing.
Right.
And when you enjoy doing something, it normally costs you money to do it, but you're getting enjoyment from it. So you're getting value for your money. If you're really, really good at it, you might make a little bit of coin off what you find on a weekend. When you're doing it as a job, guess what? If you don't want to be there, you got no choice. That's your job. You have to go there.
Right.
You might get a job where it's working out in temperatures that are below freezing. You don't want to do it, but guess what? That's your job. You've got to do it. Be prepared, my friends. If you want to go into the mining industry, you'll make good coin, but be prepared. You're going to have to work hard.
And then there's like those miners in South Africa that are like a mile and a half underground, and it's 120.
In South Africa, they're down to 4 kilometers in depth. Now
4 kilometers?
That's getting to the point where they're struggling to actually control the temperature down there in order to have people there working. So they're coming to the absolute physical human limits of how much deeper they can go. But that's 4 kilometers down, that's the deepest mine that I know of.
In the world, isn't it?
Yeah. South Africa. And I say 4 kilometers deep, and the ground is that hot down there that you can't spend much time there in areas that are not got good ventilation, and that ventilation is being artificially cooled. Yeah, you're right, Jason. It's too hot. And I say, if you are down there, and let's just say the ventilation system fails, that's dicey stuff. Yeah, what Terry just said there, if you're a fly-in, fly-out worker in a mine, generally the mining company will pay for all or part of your airfare.
What, they would have people like down in Melbourne or Darwin or something, or Sydney, fly over there to work on a shift?
So this is where they start. The number crunchers that sit in offices that never set foot on a mine, they go, hey, they talk to the mine operators and they go, or the mine owner, and they go, it's costing too much to fly these people in and out every week. And then they go, oh, okay, well, we'll just bring them over for 6 weeks, put them in what we call a donga, which is just basically a transportable building that's a bedroom and that's it.
Right.
And they will spend 6 weeks living inside that little dog box.
And then go back home for a spell, then come back.
Correct.
Miners might be exactly what would be needed on Mars.
G'day, wrench repairs and prospecting.
John, good to see you. Good night, Deej. Thanks for hanging out. And again, congratulations on the 8 years and 7,350 subscribers. You're getting there, sister. Keep up the awesome work.
Right, I reckon we might hit this next little presentation.
Okay, sounds good. Let me bring up the other screen. Oops. You might have to reshare it.
Yep, I do. Give it a
I
second.
envy you and I don't. Right.
It's just got to load. Once it loads, we'll be right. It's coming. I can see it. Whoop, here we go.
All right. Now make your end big.
There we go. Right, so we'll just move on now. We've got our ore processing plant set up. This is another mine. This one's actually at North Parks. It's called North Parks Mine. You can see that big roof. You've got the conveyor runs up and it drops through the top of the roof. That's their stockpile. That's what feeds into their ore processing plant. Right. So with modern
Was
mines,
that a cyanide vat?
I'll have to come back to you on that one. I can't remember actually the process they use there.
Oh, never mind. My bad. Sorry, Andrew.
That's all right. I think yes, there was. Yes, there is. There was cyanide there, but that large tank you were looking at was probably what they call a thickener. That's what they use to basically separate the water and the waste rock. Because again, water is a very valuable commodity, and you don't want to pump too much water out to your tailings dam because then you've got to pump it all the way back again. So what they generally try and do is they try and make that waste rock as thick as possible, but still pumpable. So what gets pumped out to the tailings dam is basically a really thick, gluggy mess. But again, this is going into how these modern mines operate.
Right.
Very, very important. Size is the most important factor. And it is very, very important when it comes to modern mines, because if the gold's too big, it doesn't get taken out of the system. It stays in the grinding circuit and goes round and round and round until it comes down to a certain size. Generally, the size most mines aim for is 0.75 millimeters. All right, so that's not even 0.1 of a millimeter. So if you were to take 13 pieces of gold that are 0.75 of a millimeter, you'll get 13.3 pieces of gold on the head of a sewing pin. That's about the size of the gold that they aim to get.
Talk about gnat poop. Fly poop, gnat poop. What's smaller than a fly? A gnat? A no-see-em poop.
A gnat poo would be pretty small. But yeah, that's generally what they aim to get. Now, the more gold they can get to that size and the quicker they can get it to that size, the more profitable that mine will be. If the rock you are milling or the rock you are processing through your ore treatment plant is extremely hard, guess what? It's going to cost you a lot more money to get it down to this size, this 0.075 millimeters. So again, knowing what rock is there before you start determines what sort of process your ore treatment plant will look like. It may have different grinding, it may have different crushing, but they all aim how many tons per day. It depends on the mine, it depends on the rock. It's not like Heath, it's not small. Like this is the ultimate size. This is what they aim to achieve. And again, this is why I want to talk about this, because what it's going to do is it's going to actually give you a bit more insight into what you're actually losing on a weekend prospecting trip. Okay? Because if we think about the size of the gold we get when we go gold panning and sluicing, it's way bigger than that. But you've got to remember that all creeks, streams, rivers all have this gold and smaller. We do have the means of retrieving it, but we've got to change our techniques. We've got to get away from what's been done hundreds of years ago and start looking at what they do in these modern mining methods and going, can we utilize that on a weekend prospecting trip? Well, the short answer is absolutely we can. That's why we do these presentations. It's to try and bring a bit of the modern mining techniques and put them into weekend prospecting to actually increase the amount of gold that you guys recover when you go out on a weekend. and I will explain how to do it. But I just want to go through exactly what a mine does, a modern mine, because I say they make millions and millions of dollars every year off gold that is 0.075 millimeters. All right, that's what I'm trying to hammer home to all you weekend prospectors. All that really micro fine gold is out there in the creeks, rivers, and streams. It's just that we're not set up to capture it yet. But I'm going to try and change that.
Right.
I said try. I didn't say I would. So here we got some crushers. All right. Hands up. Who can tell me what sort of crushers we're looking at? We've got 3 different types of crushers.
Jaw crushers.
Answer now. Go. Go. People are frantically typing. I can hear the keys clicking away frantically.
Come on, answer the question, people.
The more we have people interacting, I think the better it is. Impact. All 3 of them are impact crushers. Correct.
Impact. Brad says. Rocky Mountain Prospector.
Rightio.
Looks more like jaw crushers than an impact mill.
There's a jaw crusher in action.
Ta-da.
Ta-da! Chomp, 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 chomp. So that's exactly why they call it a jaw, because it's just like, you know, when you're eating food, it chews the food up smaller and smaller. Now, you can adjust a jaw crusher to give you finer rock. Okay, so that little hinge point at the bottom, the little black box with the shaft going out, that you can adjust in, which will give you a finer crush come out of it. But again, this is where you got to start weighing things up in your process, because if you want to crush it smaller, that means at the end of the day, you're probably going to run less tons because you're trying to crush stuff smaller, which means it has to stay in the crusher longer, which means the electric motor runs for longer to crush less material. It's a balancing act.
Right.
So sometimes, because I say, generally with a jaw crusher, they crush it down to a manageable size that will go onto a conveyor, an overland conveyor or an underground conveyor. That's basically the only thing a jaw crusher does, is makes it into a manageable size. So you don't have to use a dump truck. You don't have to use a front end loader. You don't have to use an excavator. It makes it small enough to go onto a conveyor. So it makes the whole operation run faster, more economical. So it's actually going to give you more tons through your plant and cost you less in power to run the machine to crush it. This is a primary cone crusher, what they call a gyrating crusher. Now, generally, you see these things at a ROM pad, and that's where they take your haul trucks. You know, they might be hauling 600 ton of rock and dirt. That's what gets tipped into there, what comes off a dump truck, off a haul truck. So if you want to compare the size of that crusher that we're looking at there, that car that just dropped through, that rock that just dropped through, that's about half the size of a car, an average family car. That's how big that is. So that frame that runs up over the top of it, that's called the spider. And it holds the top of that cone, and the bottom gyrates around the bottom. So as the rock falls down through that funnel, the funnel gets narrower and the cone in the center gets wider. So the rock has to get crushed smaller to fall through the bottom. Very expensive to run. All of those liners around the outside need to be replaced. That cone in the center needs to be replaced because it all wears out. And this is a secondary cone crusher. Slightly different because you don't have a spider over the top. You've got what you call the bowl, which is on the outside, and that's what the rock's feeding into, what they call the bowl. And the gyrating part in the middle is called the mantle. And it moves from side to side, and as it moves from side to side, it crushes the rock smaller and smaller until it finally goes through the gap at the bottom. Now again, to adjust the size of the discharge coming out, what they do is they screw the mantle upwards. So there's just a big giant thread that's run hydraulically, and what they do is what they call gapping it. So you'll take a virtually like a lead fishing sinker, but a really large version. They put on a bit of string with no rock running through the crusher. They'll open up the access hatch. They'll chuck that in, and it'll go thump, 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 thump until the bit of lead drops through, and then they pull it back up. You'll turn around, and normally they're close to where your little access hatch is. They've got a gauge, and they'll push that lead onto each of these little gauges until it fits in, and they go, yep, that's the size we got. That's what the size we're after. That's it, it's set. And then they lock it out at that. And now this is what they call a HPGR, which is high pressure grinding roller. Forget the grinding part because it's not actually grinding, it's crushing. Again, it's using impact. You're trying to take a big rock and you're going to force it between two really, really, really low spinning, low RPM turning rollers, but they're extremely powerful. It takes an awful lot of rock to stop them. So essentially it just squashes them into smaller and smaller rocks. So it's virtually like the diagram is seeing. Big rocks go in, goes through initial crush, which brings it down half the size, and then it goes through again, which will reduce it down to, 4 times smaller than what it was. And now we get into the grinding stage. So your big orange drums there, they're ball mills. Now, does anybody want to have a guess at what the autogenous grinding, what that actually means? Because I know a lot of people are going to go, what the hell is semi-autogenous grinding mean?
Anyone?
Anyone want to take a stab at that before I answer it for you?
Come on, take a guess.
Oh, there you go. Mr. Lodak, he knows. He's got written there, I have every idea in the world of what that is. Well, drop the answer in, my friend. Right. Don't worry about the semi-word at the part. Autogenous. I'm not even saying that right. So it's exactly what happens in a creek, a river, or a stream. It's just rocks grinding and banging on each other. It's just using rocks themselves to crush and grind. That's what the auto is. All right. When they say semi, it's because they put some steel balls in there, what they call grinding media. And that's what we're seeing in that little diagram there when it's spinning around. The blue is actually steel balls. So what happens is as the ball gets picked up on the edge of the mill, comes up, and as it drops, it lands on rocks. And again, this is where it gets tricky because if you don't put enough rock in there, guess what the steel ball's going to land on? Another steel ball. It costs money to buy steel balls, and if you start destroying them, you're wasting money. So you've got to have the amount of rock inside your ball mill right. Too much won't grind. Too little, you're just going to start destroying the mill. Calculation, maths. You gotta nut all this stuff out. And how they generally do it is they listen to the sound that the ball mill makes. So around all these ball mills, they have all these microphones, and they listen to the sound of the rock and the balls and the steel going around inside it, and that's how they determine whether they've got to add more steel balls, more rock, or more water. because this is where water starts entering the system when you start the grinding. In the crushing with the jaw crushers and the cone crushers, there's no water. You don't want water in it because water wears parts out very quickly. This is where water starts into the grinding circuit.
Now, Lodak wants to know, do they have to be steel bowls or could you use iron?
Good question, because that all depends on the type of rock you're working with. If you use something that's really hard, like as in a grinding meter, as in your steel balls, you've got to make sure there's plenty of rock in there. Otherwise, you're just going to destroy the ball will actually smash. If you're using a soft rock and you're using really hard balls, it won't grind. So you need to go with a different ball, which will maybe an iron ball. So again, this is going back on the engineering side of it. If you have a really hard substance and you want to grind it down, you've got to use something soft to grind it. If you use something hard, they won't work. You've got to have soft and hard in order to get a grind happening. So again, the type of steel ball you use depends on the type of rock you're trying to actually grind down. Good question.
Apparently there's a joke in there because I read it wrong. Do you have to have balls of steel or can you have iron balls?
Well, okay. Yeah, I ruined the joke. But anyway, it was a good
No,
question.
I ruined it because I
matter.
said it wrong to you.
It's all right, because it led to the fact that I actually spoke about the different types of grinding media that you can put in them. It just depends on the type of rock you're grinding. So it wasn't wasted.
Right.
Wasted at all.
All mills cost the most effective one is the one correct to the rock you are crushing.
Correct. And I say it's think
your
of a ball mill
balls
like
are going to be hurting, right, Terry?
It does answer many questions. That's good. Think of a ball mill as a carburetor. All right. And if you're driving from sea level and you're driving up over a mountain range, what's going to happen to the tuning of that carburetor as you're going up in altitude? It's not going to work. Your tuning goes out because you're starting to change the amount of mixture that's going into your carburetor. You've got to retune it. Old school cars that actually had carburetors that you had to tune with the screwdriver and, adjust the fuel mixture and the air mixture. That's old school. New cars work off your oxygen sensors. They've got an oxygen sensor on the intake side and you've got an oxygen sensor on the exhaust side, and it measures the amount of gases that are going in, so your oxygen and air, and it's measuring the gases coming out, and it tunes the car automatically as you're changing altitude. Ball mills, you have to actually go and physically do tests on the rock. You have to look at what the grind is coming out to determine whether or not you need to change. You need to tune your mill. There's a lot of science in this stuff, and I'm not going to get into it because it gets boring. Yeah, how they actually operate these things is they listen to the noise it makes. That's how they determine what to do with them. That's primarily what they do. They listen. Screening rock classification. Okay, we all know about screening and classification. We all know that it helps when you're out there chasing gold. Again, we'll get some conflicting answers here because some people go, nah, it's not worth the time and effort. In some circumstances, you're 100% right. It is not worth the time and effort. In other circumstances, it is critical in actually retraining and capturing gold. And again, this is where size is critical. You've got to separate everything into its size, right? Anything that's oversized goes back into the crushing and grinding. Anything that's undersized doesn't need to go back through crushing and grinding because that's just wasting money. You need to separate it and put it further down the system. So classification in a modern mine is essential to actually making money. It's how you make your ore processing plant run super efficient. Yes, it costs money to run a screen. Yes, it costs money to actually buy these screen panels and replace the decks in them every so often. But it's offset by your throughput, because your throughput will increase because everything that's going into the mills is the correct mixture. It's got the right mixture of large rock, medium rock, small rock, and dirt. And that's, again, there's a lot of maths involved. There's a lot of number crunching. And there's a lot of continual daily checking of what's going in and what's coming out of a mill. So they might look at what's coming out of the discharge and going, whoa, we're getting way too much large rock coming out and we're getting nowhere near enough slurry. So they'll go, right, so when we start feeding that mill, we're going to stop putting as much large rock in and we're going to start feeding it with more small stuff. So that's where that's, tuning the mill, getting the feed rate right, getting the feed recipe right, getting everything just right. So you're optimizing the maximum amount of material that your mill can process. Too much, too little, feast, famine. It's got to be just right to actually get your gold, to make it profitable.
Right.
And that's why they use different crushers. You've got a primary crusher, you've got a secondary crusher. And then, I don't know if everyone's read that slide. Hopefully they have. There's a vibrating screen. Normally they set them up just after a crusher. Coarse material goes back around. It goes back through the crusher again. Fine material gets sent further into the system, further on through the feed process. So your ball mill, they have screens in them. Essentially, it is to stop the grinding media from coming out. So if your steel ball is 6 inches in diameter, the first screen inside your ball mill is going to be 4 inches. So anything that's smaller than 4 inches will actually come out. Anything that's larger will stay in the mill and keep going around and around until it's broken up to fit through that screen. That screen sits vertically in the back of the mill. After that, you've got what they call the trommel box. And basically it's the same as any trommel you've ever looked at before. It's just a big rotating screen. So anything that's large that doesn't fit through that trommel bounces along, hits a conveyor and gets taken out to what they call pebble. So you'll have a pebble stockpile. That's the pebbles that are being ground up. They go back into a regrind and then go through what they call a pebble crusher, which again, it's the same cone crusher, but the gap is set much smaller. So you can utilize a crusher to do a few different operations, but the more crushers you have, the better you can actually tune what feeds into your mills initially. Because the less time material spends in a mill, the more profitable the product it is that comes out the end. So if you get your recipe right that goes in, what comes out the other end is basically dollar signs. So again, classification size is critical, absolutely critical in maximizing the amount of recovery and minimizing the amount of cost. So with your pebble crusher, what you do not want to do is you do not want to put steel balls through it, because guess what? They don't crush.
No.
All they do is they damage your crusher. So you spend a lot of money replacing bowls and mantles and damaging hydraulic and drive equipment. If you take something that is uncrushable and put it in a machine that is designed to crush, something's got to give. And normally it's the machine. The steel ball, it don't care. So what you're looking at there is just a big rotary magnet that hangs over a conveyor where all your pebbles are running along. It is strong enough to pick the balls up out of the pebbles and put them off into a ball bunker on the side. Sometimes they will reuse the balls. They'll put them back into the grinding circuit. Most of the times, that is just waste. What you see going off there down that chute is just waste product. Again, if you're getting a lot of steel balls coming out in your pebble, that means you've got not enough rock going into your mill, because what's happening is the steel balls are getting worn very quickly. They're not actually landing on rock, which is softer than the steel or iron, depending on whatever media you're using. So that's the end of that slideshow.
Very cool. That's the end of that one? Okay. I better show my ugly. Wrong button. Bravo.
So I'm getting ahead of the game here. I'm preloading the last presentation.
Thank you, Mary. Faith Mary. There was a question though from mi amigo David Villa. He was wondering if you could explain the flotation process.
Yeah. Guess what? That's not going to get covered in today's live feed, because that's a whole different kettle of fish.
You'll have to wait for that one, David. And you'll never guess what was going through my mind.
I will cover
presentation.
I will cover flotation very briefly at the end of this. But when Ed says that, we're going to wrap up within, 10 minutes, that's when I'll cover it. But it's only very briefly, because it's a whole nother beast. But this is where you recreational prospectors are going to go, the light bulb is just going to go, boing, and you're going to go, holy cow, I could have been doing this all along for all these years, and I could have been recovering all of that gold. Yes, you could have. This is why I'm doing it. I'm introducing modern techniques to recreational prospectors. But I want you to do it in a responsible way, and that's the key word, responsible, because when you start dealing with flotation, you're dealing with chemicals.
Right.
All right. But at the end of this, I'm gonna give you a crash course in flotation. Anybody that plays with black sand is absolutely going to love what I'm going to tell you at the end of this. Absolutely love it. You'll never believe how simple it is to remove gold from black sand when I show you this.
Treat coming up for you.
That's got a lot of people's eyebrows going, what? Yeah, it's actually it's a really cool trick. I'm going to turn the air conditioner on because it's like pretty toasty in here.
Yeah, it's just a little above. We had a heat wave here today, hit 40 degrees Fahrenheit. Right now we're at 36 Fahrenheit. What would that be Celsius? 3 Celsius? Or 6 Celsius? 5 Celsius? I don't know. I'm a bloody Yank. I use the standard system.
Hang on. Let me just quickly. I'm just going to go bang like that. Go bang like that. Open, damn you. So you're, what'd you say, 40 Fahrenheit?
That was our high today. Right now it's 36 with the mixture of snow and rain.
So you just, if you want to talk Celsius for guys here or people that talk Celsius, it's below 5 degrees Celsius.
Yeah, like isn't your 0 R31 or
32.
32?
Yep.
32 is your 0, yeah.
0
Okay.
degrees Celsius is 32 degrees Fahrenheit, or
It's
200.
24 degrees in New York.
Yep. Or 273.15 Kelvin.
It's 22 degrees up in New England. New Hampshire. White Mountains.
I so want to answer David's question, but I don't, because if I start down the flotation rabbit hole now, we're going to be here for hours and hours and hours, because people are just going to go, why have we not been doing this?
So, you want to do your Black Sand thing now or a different time? Get you back next month for the next chapter of.
Ask the people in the chat. Ask the people who are watching. Let them decide.
Okay, do you guys want him to answer stuff now, or do you want him to come back next month and do a second episode? We have Heath with Save for Part 2. Jeffrey says we got to know.
We've got to know. Black Sands, question mark.
Sounds like Jason would like to hear something now. Megadog says both. Jason says yes. Mike says part 2. David says save it, save it, save it. If you have time.
Oh, look, I promised I was going to give you a real quick explanation of it, so I will. No chemicals involved, but it's going to work. It will separate the gold from the black sand. I just need a couple of seconds to grab some stuff.
Okay. Okay. Well,
actually, I'll leave the gold picture there.
There you go. Leave the gold picture there. We all like looking at stuff. What Sam say? Muscle. It's coming, Sam. It's coming. Okay, now everybody. I think I'm going to do a poll in the regular chat, not in the vertical. So if you want to participate in this poll, you have to go to my other feed if you're in the vertical. So let me see. Will it make? I have to go down here, add a poll. There it is.
Okay, look, the thing with magnets. Magnets, hematite, magnetite. If you use a magnet to try and separate, your gold particles are going to come with it. Magnets will remove most of it, but it'll also take some of the finer gold as well.
I'm
Right,
going to
so-
make you big, Andrew.
Rightio. So I've got a jar here, and it's got a little bit of gold in it in the bottom. It's going to be really hard to do this, but anyway. It's got a little bit of gold in the bottom there. Right, you can see it's in the bottom. It's not floating. Gravity is doing its thing because gold is heavy and it's dense. But guess what? Gold is naturally hydrophobic. If I took that gold and let it dry and then dropped it on the water, what's most of it going to do? The really fine particles, the really 0.75 particles, aren't going to sink. They're going to float because gold is naturally hydrophobic. So if you want to make something float, what's the one thing you do not put in your gold pan?
Oil.
Not,
Your chroma key's messing up your picture. Can't
All
see
right.
the jar. Oil. You don't want surface tension.
Actually, no, you do. You want to increase surface tension.
Oh,
also,
you do? Oh,
you
well,
want-
that's a good idea to lift your gold flotation. Yeah.
That's where we're going. This is your flotation. All right.
Okay, I get you. I'm sorry. Continue, sir.
This is
Sensei.
where I'm going to change your thinking. So I'm going to add a little bit of oil into this jar with the water.
At this time, so we could see it clearer, could you turn off your chroma key?
Wow. Want. Always want.
I know how terrible of me.
Right. So I'm just going to add a bit of oil, just cooking oil. All right. Completely biodegradable. It won't harm the environment.
Vegetable oil.
So I've just put a bit of oil in there. And that oil is floating on top. The gold is still sitting on the bottom. But if I do this, and this is basically what a flotation cell does. It uses air, and it's what they call a collector. And that's the chemical agent that clings to the gold. And then they use another chemical called a frother. And when the air contacts the gold that's got the collector on it, the air and the collector bind together and it makes the gold float. And this is what we're doing in a flotation circuit. We're actually not making the gold sink like we do when we're out prospecting. We're making the gold float. And when we're talking ultrafine gold in a creek or a stream or a river, you can't get that when you're gold panning. You can't get that when you're sluicing. You can only get that when you float the gold. Now straight away I'm looking in there and there's gold floating on top because the oil has contacted the gold. Oil wants to float, the gold wants to float. So a lot of that fine gold is now floating on top, and it won't matter how much I agitate that to try and sink the gold again, it won't go to the bottom. The coarse gold's there, but the fine gold's now floating on top. That's a very quick demonstration. If you have a whole heap of black sand and you've got fine gold in it, my advice to you is put a little bit of oil in there. Mix it together thoroughly. Really, really thoroughly. I mean, if you want to make it work super good, dry everything out before you add the oil. So drain all the water out of your black sand and gold. Make it super dry. Put the oil in. Stir it with a stick, stir it with your finger, whatever. But just make sure everything is coated in oil. Add water. The black sand will stay at the bottom because it's not hydrophobic, right? It doesn't want to float. But gold is hydrophobic. It wants to float. That's my little tip for you. That's an introduction into flotation.
Tamara. So then you skim the top.
Yeah. So with that demonstration, what you would do is you would just slowly add water into it, but you'd set that jar into another container You would slowly add water into it, and as the water level come up and it run over the top, the gold would run up and fall into the other container.
There you go,
Leaving-
Miner Ma.
leaving the black sand in the original container.
I know, right, Gail?
So again, we've been following the same methods for retrieving gold for hundreds of years. We want to sink the gold to capture it. It wants to go to the lowest point in the gold pan. It wants to drop into all the riffles behind the sleuths. But if you think about how much fine gold is in the sand, the silts, the muds, that you physically cannot get with gravity because gold is naturally hydrophobic, it naturally goes out of your gold pan. You can, but if you wanted to take an hour to pan one pan of material, you could catch some of the fine gold, but not all of it.
Well, Andrew, why we were talking about, the next time for another presentation, I took a poll and it goes, it's unanimous, 100% yes is the answer. But would you like to have Andrew come on once a month to talk over with a presentation on modern gold methods and stuff? Oh, they're saying, yeah, 100%. Everyone that got voted did 100%. So everybody, I promise you, I'll talk to our friend Andrew over here and see what I could do to have him come on once a month for a series of modern gold methods and how it can be implemented into a smaller scale for the small scale miner and recreationalists.
I'm just going to quickly answer Gail's question there. Does it all have to be the same size at that point? No, Gail, it doesn't. But the smaller it is, the better it works. Again, this is why I keep saying in modern mining methods, size is everything. And that's why they always aim for that smaller size, because that's the maximum recovery. If it's big, it probably won't float. But that's what the gravity circuit does. That's what we recreational prospectors work with, is gravity. The flotation is the next step. That's where you do away with gravity and you work against it. Instead of trying to make the gold sink, you try and make the gold float. To do that, it has to be small. If you go too small, though, it's gone. It's what they call slimes. I'm going to cover that because we're going to go down a big rabbit hole here, because with flotation, it's a whole new beast. But once you get your head around how it works, you'll start recovering a lot of superfine gold very quickly. A good question, Gail. And again,
show over tonight?
Not yet, honey.
What I'm talking about with flotation, it happens naturally. And this is again going to play.
Oh yeah, there's always surface tension in the streams and stuff from pine trees and other contaminants and stuff. Like Scott from Bent Fork Prospecting was talking about. The fall leaves leave a oily film when the flow is down in his streams, and my snuffer dumps always have a bunch of floaters. And same with areas with pine trees too, Scott. The pine sap and stuff will get in the water and help add to the surface tension. Can There's always surface tension. That's why in most panning tubs and stuff, everyone uses Dawn or Jet Dry to cut the surface tension. But in this recovery method, you want the surface tension to be maximized. And the majority of gold in the world is talcum powder fine, Gail, like the Egyptians with their eyeliner. It's or macro. And when you're getting into macro, that's smaller than that poo.
Mr.
Now, would
Ladex,
you, what Lodax say?
Mr. Ladex just touched on another subject that is quite important in modern processing, like gold mining processes. That one, that question right there. Well, it's not a question. It's actually a statement. It's a very true statement.
I guess we'll get to that in another episode with you on.
Yeah. Because I say, we're starting to go into the realm of stuff that I know about. I've known about it for years, but I've never thought about passing that information on to you guys for you guys to utilize. Because I say there's a lot of responsibility that comes with using flotation to recover gold. So it needs to be done in a way that is responsible. And look, to be totally honest, most of the flotation that you're going to do as a weekend prospector will be done at home of a night time or of an afternoon after work, or when it's raining or when it's snowing and you can't get outside. You're going to go, right, I'm going to go down and process that bucket of really fine stuff I got, and I'm going to float off all the gold. That's when you'll do it, at home.
Next episode, cleaning piled gold berries. We'll find out. Oh, oiled gold. Doggone typos. Yeah. Piled oil. Most of the time I'm pretty good at reading typos.
Aren't we all?
Right.
Here's a little bit of trivial information for you. Some people will know this, a lot of people won't. Seawater. How much gold is in seawater, floating in seawater?
Oh, no.
I'm just going to go and grab another drink while I get some answers for that.
Everybody,
How much
when
gold?
he comes back, we want some guesses. No Googling. No chat GPT.
Absolutely Google it.
Oh, Google it. Go ahead. Research. Google it. Because I am right here. I hope I don't lag out really bad while I bring up another tab.
This is the best part about doing this stuff. When it's interactive, I like seeing people in the comments being part of what we're doing. That's what I love about Ed's show. It's always interactive. You can always ask questions. You can always contribute in the comments. Ed's always done a great job of this. It's inclusive. It's not about him. It's not about me. It's about everybody in the comments.
It's about all you. That's right. Very well said, Andrew. Megadog says 3%. What's the DNR would have a fit me out and dumping granola oil in the creek. It's vegetable oil. It's biodegradable. It will eventually break down.
Sunlight, my friend. UV light breaks down vegetable oil.
1 part per million.
Bingo.
Toothpick mining. Good seeing you, buddy. 1 billion parts per.
Right, everybody got that? It's 1 part It's 1 part per million metric tons. Tons. So if you think about it, it's one tiny little bit of gold in a whole lot of water. Get ready for this. The human body contains 44 parts per billion. A human body contains more gold than seawater. And that's every single living person on this planet. I'm not kidding. It's the truth. It's 100% truth.
I think Sam copy and pasted it. It looks identical to what I'm reading.
It doesn't matter, copy and paste. But what people won't realize is human bodies contain 44 parts per billion of gold, which is a lot more than seawater. It's 44 times more than seawater. Now, a lot of people are now going to be going, how does the body contain gold? How does the gold get inside a human body? Every time you eat a vegetable, every time you eat a bit of meat, every time you, not so much water, but anything that's food-based has gold content in it. Sea creatures have generally less because they live in an aquatic situation. Seawater only having 1 part per billion. Aquatic creatures that live in the sea have less gold inside their bodies. But terrestrial animals and plants have a lot more gold in them because they're exposed to a lot more gold. So that's just a little bit of trivial information, like a bit of gold information for you.
I gotta pay for my StreamYard somewhere, guys. Okay, I'll try hard to have no commercials next time.
You can't help it. It's YouTube.
Yeah, they're even throwing commercials on non-monetized videos now.
Yeah.
And channels.
So look, let's go down the rabbit hole a little bit with flotation. A flotation cell is basically just a big mixing vat, okay? So you take up your very, very, very finely ground rock, right? Now, the gold particles in there are going to still be attached to rock. That's how they've managed to get past the gravity circuit and make it to the flotation, because they haven't been liberated from the rock. They're not free mill gold. They're still attached to rock, right? So in order to retrieve the gold that's still got a little bit of rock attached to it, you need to make the gold super hydrophobic, which is what the actual collector does. It binds to that. Then you've got a big agitator in the bottom, and you inject air into the agitator, and the agitator creates a lot of ultra-fine bubbles. The finer the bubbles, the better the capturing. If you want to put that into a natural situation, every time you get a flood in the stream, you are creating a float system to float fine gold. Every time you look at a stream in flood, you're going to see that scuddy mess that floats on top. That's where your fine gold is. It's not traveling down the bottom in the flood, it's floating up on top. Because the chemicals that are coming from the plant, which are your oils, the acids that are coming from the rocks and the minerals in the ground, that starts breaking the rocks up and making them fall apart more, which liberates those fine particles of gold. Once they come in contact with the oils from plants and other things like that, they become hydrophobic, they float, they collect in all the bubbly scum, that brown muck that you see in floodwater, and that's where all your fine gold is. So when you're looking for fine gold, you don't look behind rocks, you don't look in crevices. You look for eddies where that fine floating scum goes round, because that's where your fine gold will be. Yeah. Again, I can see a lot of eyebrows going, what? Yeah, that's right. And lots of fine gold, not a little bit, lots of fine gold.
Brian Wilder, next time you're in Nome, you have to dry out some king crab and sample it. Because I know you go out there and can catch it.
But again, I would strongly recommend that anybody that wants to start having a dabble with flotation, don't do it out on the creeks, rivers, and streams.
No, do it in your panning room.
Take your concentrates, and this is going to be hard for a lot of people to do. When you actually get your concentrates from your gold pan, when you get your concentrates from your river sluice, when you get your concentrates from your high banker or your dredge, don't process them out on the stream. Put them in a bucket or buckets. Take them back home. Do your gravity removal first, keeping all your stuff that's waste, and then treating the waste with flotation methods.
I never do that stage on the river.
No.
I just get my cons and put them in a bucket and back to work. I'm not on the river to work all my cons down to just clean gold on the river. That time can be done during the winter in my shed.
And that's what I'm entrusting with my family here. Okay, I'm entrusting you with this knowledge so that you're going to do it responsibly. Like even like your vegetable oils and seed oils and things like that, which are biodegradable. Don't put them in the streams. That's not where they belong. Do it at home. Right? At the end of it,
Jason has a ton of black sands. He's gonna do this at home.
There you go, my friend.
Bent Fork has 8 buckets of black sands. I've been through the cube 3 times.
Okay,
take some of this to action and try some with. Now, should we roast our black sands before trying this? And
6 of one, half dozen the other. Once again, it depends on what your concentrates have in them.
Right.
I will give you another hot tip. Does anybody want to hear the next hot tip or not? Or do you want to just not talk about it?
I'm sure they don't care, even though we're in overtime.
When you've got your cons and you've dried them out and you're adding your oil, there's one more thing I want you to add to it.
What's that?
Anybody can possibly guess at what you might also add to it. All right, you want your gold to float, but guess what else you want to do? You want to sink anything that's not gold.
Right.
All right, and there's certain things that you can get that you can add to your oily mix that will make things like iron sink, like your pyrites and all that. Anything that you don't want to recover, you can make it sink. And again, this is going into the whole flotation process and science. Like you're putting your lab coats on, you're taking your weekend prospecting clothes off, and you're putting your lab coats on, right? Because you've got to get your head around how it works in order for you to actually get the maximum from it. If you've got a bag of cement, I just want you to take a little bit of cement and put that in the mix and mix it up, because what cement will do, it aids in anything that's iron to make it drop. It stops the oils from clinging to the iron. Because the iron
you just only the cement powder.
Yep.
Not all the ingredients to make it concrete, people, just the cement powder.
Quick lime. Hydrated lime, same thing. It's basically the same thing as cement powder, but cement powder's been
lime.
No, You could use cement mix it's got in it, but it's also got sand, it's got gravels and other things.
Yeah, usually it has pea gravel. You could get just Portland cement.
Perfect.
Gale.
If you just want to do a quick experiment at home, get some dirty water, put some cement powder in it, in a jar, shake it up, and sit it down, and watch how quickly everything settles out of that water when you put a little bit of cement powder in it. Anybody that's ever had anything to do with construction, if you walk up to a water drum that the bricklayers use to put water in when they're making their mortar, every morning that drum will be crystal clear because of the amount of cement that's actually been put into that water. It takes all the floaties that are in it and sinks them straight to the bottom. So yeah, just a very quick experiment. Take some dirty water. The dirtier the water, the better. Put a tiny, just a half a spoonful in there. Shake it up. Sit it down, and you look at how quickly that water will become clear because all the solids in that water, which make it dirty, will just drop straight out. I'm full of good ideas. Just ask me.
Just asking. Did someone? Okay, I thought I saw something. Moto Mining, good to see you, buddy. I want to, before we end the show tonight, I want to thank the super chatters, Faith, Mary, Faith, Mary, Fran, and Terry Marshall. I greatly appreciate it. And everybody over on Vertical, thank you very much. Everybody in this live chat, thank you very much. Brewer Prospecting in the house. Better late than never. Same with you, Moto. But let's see. Sam, this was a great show. Ed, Andrew, thank you for all your knowledge. Can't wait to try all this ourselves. And I'm going to get Andrew back. There's more to come because my cog's been moving and the votes were in. Everybody said, yeah. So now I got to talk to the man. But I have a good idea.
I've planted the
looks
seed.
like there's an after party on Zoom over at, you could probably catch the link inside the live chat at goldprospectorspace.com, home of Prospectors Radio and a bunch of my friends over there. And it looks like Andrew's going to be over there because the way you reacted. Yeah. If I didn't have to wake up buku early and drive an hour and a half, I might be over there too. I still have to do post-production for my podcast site. Pardon me.
Guys, I just love being able to spend time with you, but more importantly, pass on knowledge that I have. Like, I constantly live with this bloody cancer, all right? And I keep thinking to myself, don't die with the knowledge you have. Pass it on. Pass it on to people that will appreciate it. Help people. If that is the one goal I have left in life, and you guys can help me do it, then that's exactly what I want. All right? Because I say, if you have knowledge that you can share and improve people's lives and just make it people's lives better in any way at all, please do it.
Sleep over it. I'm a night owl as it is, David. Yeah. You know, I might be over there. Yes, I might go over there while I'm doing my or post-production. My chariot's gonna turn into a pumpkin if I stay too much longer. It is a great attitude, Mitch. Pass it on. Pass it on to those willing to listen and learn. Don't want to throw pearls to the swine to be wasted. But if you have someone who wants to learn the knowledge you know and apply it, by all means, share it. Share it.
I mean, this is the first time I've ever spoke about it, and I didn't do it on my channel. I did it with all of you. Okay? It's none of this is about me. This is about you guys. And I say, without Ed, you would have never have known about this. I would have never have done this on my own channel because I unfortunately have too many people that follow me that do it for all the wrong reasons. You know, and that was lessons learnt the hard way over the years, unfortunately.
Right.
But all you guys, you are all family for me, okay? And I don't mind at all sharing stuff with my family.
Oh, he likes us. That's right, Heath. All right, friends. Let me see. Next week, believe it or not, I don't even think I have a guest lined up.
Oh, before we go, if you haven't hit the thumbs up on this, please do it now before this ends. Go and hit the thumbs up. Please, please, please do it.
Do it. Do it.
Just do it.
No, actually, I'm looking for a guest for the 16th. Beermans, if you're still in here, read your email. Terry Carter will be returning on the 23rd, though. I'm not scared. I've been so busy like last year and years before that. I was scheduled out like 3 months in advance. Not now. I need to get busy. Should get Terry next week. Terry works all over the country at different power plants and stuff and dams and all kinds of stuff. So I have to work with Terry's schedule. He have David Buckle back. If I could get a hold of him, I'd love to have David back. I miss that guy, crazy guy. All right, but we're a half hour into overtime. I appreciate each and every single one of you and you, all of you. Until next week, may you always have a flash in your pan, and you know what I like to say because it does happen. Maybe one day too, we'll meet you on the river. But for this very second right now, Andrew and I, we're out of here.
Tuesday Night Hangout Live. We've had our fun. Camaraderie was strong. The night's been won. Thanks for tuning in. We'll see you soon. Tuesday Night Hangout Live is for all of you. FlashFam forever. We'll keep the vibe. Catch us next time. Let's keep
Night
it
comes
right.
real close. We're feeling great. FlashFam is together. Whenever it feels just right. The wonderful guests, good times, are so much fun. Tuesday Night Hangout Live will turn very soon. Thank you for joining us. It's been a fantastic time. Camaraderie is strong, and we're built to last. Till next time, we look forward to seeing you again. Tuesday Night Hangout Live will be back soon. Give us a like. Don't say goodbye. Just see you later. FlashFam forever. Until we meet again.